illuminated. Alright. It's time for another art stream. Hooray. And I will warn ahead of time that I will probably still have that cough problem, because that is still lingering around. There seems to be some kind of deal. I don't know, maybe I'm old, maybe it's whatever, where after I'm done being sick, body's like, oh, we're done being sick. In that case, you're gonna cough a whole bunch for like a month. I don't know why that happens. I didn't even have a cough when I was sick, because it was a sinus cold. It was like a head cold. But oh well. Hello, hello, thank you for coming and for joining me today. We are working on some backgrounds for the next Eldritchrune comic, and these are very simple backgrounds. These are not very difficult ones, so I kind of imagine we'll blaze through these pretty quick. Maybe we can get to starting colors on them as well, because this is, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give myself a little break, and backgrounds will be very simple, just like bleak landscape kind of thing. Easy to do. So we just gotta draw them all nicer than what I had previously. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you were able to catch a stream. Yay! Yeah, I usually do art on Sundays around this time, and then play a video game on Friday nights. Wish I could do it more, but I do have a full-time job I gotta do otherwise, so I'm normally too busy. But these are the times I can do it, so thank you for coming. I know this is probably not going to be the most exciting one, because I'm working on backgrounds instead of characters today, but hopefully it's at least interesting to listen to. I do a lot of big, sweepy lines. Sleepy lines. I'm a little sleepy. Sleepy, eepy lines. Hello, thank you for coming. I was going to also do this for any new posts of the comic. That's what I'm working on right now. I am working on cleaning up the backgrounds for the next Eldritchrune comic. I was thinking of maybe working on the backgrounds for the ending. And unfortunately, I don't really have those set up yet. I need to move those over to another program to do some of that, and I haven't done that yet. So I was like, okay, but I can do the backgrounds on this one for Photoshop, because they're really easy. So, and that one will be making progress. Excuse me. This is a 15-pager, but hopefully the simple backgrounds will help make it go a little quick. But yeah, basically that's what we're working on today. I'm hoping, if I'm lucky, to have this part done by the end of the month. Just depends, but if I'm very fortunate, it'll be done by the end of the month. If not, probably early February. Yeah, sometimes after you do a bunch of complicated stuff, it's like, okay, now I want to do something a little bit simpler. Switch back and forth, all that stuff. Alright, I gotta do. These are getting special lines because we're doing stuff with water in this one, because it's Miss Mizzle. This one might look a little bit different for a while because, again, very bleak background. Or it's mostly focused on big pool of water. So we're going to be doing that with shading more than lines. Well, thank you for coming. I started a little bit on the character rough for this part, but haven't gotten very far. I've just gotten kind of like a few pages done here and there, so we might come back to that next week, depending on how far along I get on it. I still got a little bit more work to do on my job stuff this week, and then hopefully after, if I'm good with that, maybe I'll finish it a little earlier than I'd like, and then I can have a bit more time to do this. But work stuff has to come first. I'm so annoyed. My foot hurts. I want to go out walking and catch Pokemon today, and my foot is hurting. So it's going to hurt to walk. I don't like that. Stop that. You gotta remember, the rotate tool works. Shockingly, it works. But yes, basically today is progress on next comic, which, if I'm extremely lucky, will be out at the end of the month, and if not, it'll be out early next month. This is just a long one. I was actually debating if I wanted to split this up into 2 parts again, because it is 15 pages. I'm like, oh, maybe we can just do a lengthier one-parter as opposed to splitting it into 2. It's actually not that cold right now. It's like 40s, I think. Actually, I'm curious. Let me check the temperature according to my phone. What does it say? What's the temperature? Okay, no, 36. Okay, so it is cold. I'll put on my big jacket when I go out today. But apparently it's like same temperature like in Florida right now, so who knows? You'd figure that January in Canada would be pretty dang cold, but 30s, okay, yeah. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell because like my apartment is just really warm. I think during the winter, for like anybody who's old in the apartment, they just keep the boiler on and it just lights up the whole apartment because my apartment is always warm. I literally have the window open right now in my bedroom in order to just like regulate the temperature a little bit because it is always warm in my household. But yeah, I'm sure as soon as I go outside I'll be like, ooh, nippy, you know. So I will put on big coat and probably also my gloves. There was some frost on the ground I saw, so that is probably a little bit cold. I thought it was in the 40s because I think it was that but a few days ago, but it must have dropped back down, so it's in the 30s right now. That's pretty cold. Yeah, no, I should probably be doing this in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, but I'm sorry. Okay, the metric system makes the most sense in all ways, except I still prefer Fahrenheit to Celsius. Like, I understand for scientific measurement, Celsius makes sense if you're measuring water, but I am measuring how it feels. So in that sense, Fahrenheit still makes more sense to me. But I guess, what is that? And actually, I'm curious now what that is in Celsius. What is that? Well, that's my clock. Nope. Okay, I must have set this to Fahrenheit because I can't find it in Celsius. Oh well, it's probably colder. Probably closer to 0. Let me stand that. I must be warm-blooded in general because, like, I don't know, things that, like, the rest of my family's like, that's so cold. I'm like, it's fine. Let's put on a jacket. It's fine. I don't get cold all that easily. That'll probably change as I get older. When I'm like super old, I'll be like, it's too cold. I gotta put on all my scarves and stuff. Which finally I'll make use of all the sweaters and scarves people have gifted me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't usually wear this. I can do nothing with it. Right. Make sure we group the stuff into the BG so we can find it again. I'm old and cold. True. That's why Garrison had a scarf. But also, he's a turtle. They're cold-blooded. Okay, so do reptile monsters, are they ectothermic or endothermic, whatever it is? Are they cold-blooded as well, like actual reptiles? Or is that just not count? Do reptile monsters have to bask? If it gets too cold, do they just stop moving and wait for it to warm up again? That would be fun. That was my one complaint watching Zootopia 2, which was otherwise a very fun movie. Is that, you know, they had the snake, and one of the bits was, oh no, the snake, we have to go across this snowy area in the cold. We have to make sure the snake has a sweater so that the snake can get across the snow. And I'm like, that's not how reptiles work. The sweater won't do anything because the point of a sweater is that you're holding in the warmth that's already there. You're preventing the warmth from escaping your body by wearing warm clothing. The reptile does not have warm on the inside because they don't have warm blood. They're just magic talismans of warmth. Magically keep you warm. It was a fun movie. I did enjoy Zootopia too, but like reptiles don't work like that. They were correct that, you know, okay, a reptile curling around a warm-blooded animal will get warm because they're getting their heat from the person. But they do not have internal heat to keep inside. That's why they need the power of the sun. And or your warm body. Okay. Yeah, we're probably gonna blaze through these. Warm your local snake today. True. If you're cold, they're cold. Put them on your arm. Let them experience. You're like a big warm tree to them. Yeah, that's why if a reptile does not feel like threatened by you, if they're like, oh, this is a safe person, and yeah, they like to hang out with people because, oh, big warm thing I can climb. That's comfortable. You're more cold. No, put on a sweater. Put on a sweater. But your heart is warm. Aw. I'll warm you with my warm heart. There's a light inside your soul which is shining in the cold. I don't think it works that way, but oh no. They can't suck the heat from you. You're the one producing it. They're just taking advantage of it. Snakes are heat vampires. Oh no! I love seeing people like have their hibernating tortoises and whatever and put those like in the fridge. I think it's time for turtle to sleep for the winter. We're gonna put them in the fridge and then thaw them out when it's spring. Or brewmate actually, not quite hibernate. It's a little bit different. I don't know who needs to hear this, but it's time to move your turtle to the fridge. Surprise, nobody's done that version of the meme yet. I saw one today. I was like, I don't know who needs to hear this. It was like, it's time to move your Ides of March memes to the fridge. And it's like, it's January. We got a ways to go before March. Maybe in February we can do that. I imagine we're going to have a particularly spirited Ides of March this year. Lots of, yay, it's fun to stab the government officials we don't like, isn't it, people? Let's celebrate that thought. I'm trying to remember, did I read Julius Caesar when I was in school? I know we read a bunch of Shakespeare's throughout the years, but I'm like, was Julius Caesar one of them? And maybe? Something like that. Alright. Yeah, we already got through. Yeah, these backgrounds are gonna go fast. Hooray! Oh, this one's like all underwater. Okay, we'll skip that for now. All underwater all the time. No lines at all. I love stabbing the government in Minecraft. Exactly. What? What your lines? What? I love reading about Julius Caesar and the historical conspiracy of people to get together and all stab someone that they thought was a despot. What a fascinating thing to read about in Minecraft. Even though definitely the way that the play is written is like, no, they're such betrayers of Caesar's. I like how we've just turned that into a fun holiday anyway. I know, let's have a fun idea for March 15th. Why don't we reenact some historical dramas for culture? It's fine if it's for culture. You know, the classics. Luna, we're making jokes. Konnichiwa, everyone, to second-hand embarrassment. Hello, hello, thank you for coming. We are doing backgrounds, which in this case are big pointy hills, which are never fun to walk across, but easy to draw. Yeah, I'm actually not much of a Roman history buff. You know, or at least, like, you know, kids usually have, like, their Greek mythology stage or Egyptology stage or something like that. I'm trying to remember, like, what did I have any, like, historical stages that really, really grabbed me? And I don't know if I did. Like, I've obviously had my dragon stage and arguably never left it. And bring your own, censored by the FBI. Bring your own element that, you know, utensil you would use to cut up a steak for no reason. We're all just going to get a big steak. Yeah, I think Egypt phases are pretty common. I would hope everyone has a dragon stage. I feel like people have, like, or assume, okay, either into dragons, wolves, or horses. And I was dragons mostly. Maybe a little wolves, but way more dragons. Never really horses. I'll do that later when I worked on My Little Pony. Yeah, I gotta read Wings of Fire. I actually read some of those as an adult. And, I'm thinking to work on a TV show of that. Did that ever get going? Seems like that would be a slam dunk for, you know, animated TV show. But then again, the Warrior seems like a slam dunk for that too, and they sat on that for however long. Is anybody gonna get in on this market for middle schoolers that nobody's touching for years? No? Okay, we're just gonna keep doing stuff for preschoolers and adults. Okay. I'm not bitter. I mean, I did work on My Little Pony, and that was a thing I did for many years. Oh, penguins. Penguins are fun. Oh my goodness, I found this thing recently. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can't bring it up here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna show you some very early Lynx art, if I can find it here. Oh my goodness, where did I have it saved? This was it, I think. No, that's not it. Where was it? It must have been my schoolwork. Hold on. I'm very curious if I can find it. Is it in here? No, that's not it. Gosh, where is it? No, don't tell me I can't find it now. No, where is it? I wanted to find it. Hold on a second. No, it's gotta be in Scraps. It's gotta be in Time Capsule. Okay, I can't find the thing that I wanted to find. But, we'll try this instead. Check out my cool drawings from, I don't know, however long ago this was. When was this? I don't know. This is what I was drawing. Like, you know, look at how cool this dragon is. The 90s. With his pierced tail and stuff like that. With his weird name and his skateboard with stuff on it. He's so radical. And headphones over his ears and the big sunglasses. He's so edgy. He can do every skateboard trick. This is how Susie wants to see herself. Yeah, exactly. Tony Dragon. Alright, oh wait, we don't want to do that yet. We're getting rid of that guy. So, I can't find the thing I was trying to find, which was even earlier than that. But that was like Baby Lynx. Gone forever. If I ever find the other thing I was trying to find, which is from like really Baby Lynx. Dawn Osteal. Now we're back to boring backgrounds, but at least you got to see that coolest guy ever. Oh, I don't know what that is. Stranger in Paradise. And then on one hand, I'm like, oh, that's so silly. On the other hand, I'm like, dang, I need, like, you know, the strength of younger me, who was like, I'm going to draw whatever the hell I want, including this dragon with, like, a cool skateboard. Very 90s platformer mascot. Sonic rival of some kind. It's fun. Keep your middle school dragon drawings. You never know when you'll need them. We all need the strength of younger us. True. Now more than ever. It's especially hard to keep track of a lot of this stuff because I didn't have drawing programs when I was a kid. I didn't have the internet. So most of it was on paper. It was just like especially on like lined paper with like, you know, colored pencils and crayons or whatever. A lot of colored pencils I used. And also ink drawings. Yay, good. Keep your middle school dragon drawings. Keep them. Nice. So which Wings of Fire dragon did you draw them as? I'm trying to remember the types. I know there's like the mud wing and the water wing or whatever, and the like rainforest one that they have to sleep or whatever, and the big desert ones which are basically like fire or something. I forget all the types. It's been a while since I've read it, but like I remember kind of some things. Or those like the black ones that are like psychic and stuff like that. Skeletons and night dragons, that makes sense. That makes sense. I guess Toriel and Asgore would have to be like the fire ones, right? I don't think they really have like a fluffy kind of dragon. Although they should. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read it. Quite a ways ago. Well, I think I need to put stuff behind a group. World does need fluffy dragons. Like, you gotta have your scale dragons, of course. That's a requirement. But you also need some fluffy ones. And you need, like, some ones in the water. And, like, some weird ones. Some psychic ones, you know. Gotta cover everything. Unexpected Guest, is that you? That's a good comic. I like Unexpected Guests. I'm curious to see how it goes. Yeah. Skeleton dragons are definitely no joke to draw, though. Those are kind of a pain in the butt. Oh no, now I have to learn anatomy that's not real. Just make it up as you go. Also, I remember bone dragons from, like, Heroes of Might and Magic. I think it was 3. They had, like, bone dragons and ghost dragons. Which were cool, but not nearly as powerful as, like, actual dragons. I know, good grief. That would have been a little too much. So I'm like, oh, I don't need skeletons. I'll just put feathers on everything. Surely this is fine. And actually it was fine, because I like drawing feathers on things. Except for Birdly, he's annoying. Feathers are fun to draw, I think. Your skybox like, I don't have to draw backgrounds. It all takes place in the sky. Ha 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 ha. I think I need a new keyboard. Some of my, aside from the fact that it's not a very good keyboard to begin with, some of my keys are vanishing into the ether. Oh, I gotta stop and do my break soon. Yeah, I did have to draw them for the one chapter where they were on Earth. I'm like, okay, now I gotta draw stuff. Art is cheating, but not like AI art, because that's not even doing anything. You gotta do something. Okie dokie. It is stretch time. I wish I could stretch my foot to make it stop hurting. I was trying to do that all night. I was like, and it was still hurting. I'm trying to figure out where I put that, I know I stumbled across it in my files at some point. It was like we had to do, a report on an animal, I think when I was in like 1st or 2nd grade or something. And we could do that lots of different ways. We could, do a diorama or write something or draw something or a poster. So I drew a book with a lot of illustrations, and the animal I picked was zebras. So I drew a lot of zebras, and I, checked out some books on zebras for my report, and they had pictures, so I'm like, oh, I'm just going to copy the pictures of the zebras they have myself. And so there's just elaborate zebra drawings with accurate stripes on them in my little 1st grade animal book report thing. Because I'm like, I'm just copying them from the book, and they have the stripes this way. With my terrible, grade school writing above it. I'll find those someday. They're in some folder on my computer, but I don't remember where. That's how I messed up my wrist early, is drawing zebras at grade 1. Too complicated. No, I think I first messed up my wrist in high school working on that animation, and before I got a tablet, I was coloring it and using the mouse. That was not a smart plan. To this day, I'm pretty sure, I couldn't really do much 3D work, because that's all with the mouse, and excessive mouse use messes me up faster than anything else I can do to my wrist. Drawing, at least, is more natural position for it, I think. If I did a lot of mouse work, I'd have to get a really specific mouse that, is good for the wrist. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and stuff. Alrighty, I'm back. Let's continue on. Oh. Yeah, I know sometimes when you're doing a game that's not new for you, but you're trying to introduce a friend to it who is new, it's like, no, I can't spoil it now. They have to have the experience of it. You have to decide what I'm going to do after Soul of Sovereignty, and I think I want to do Outer Tail finally, because I know I've said I'd do that for a while. Do Outer Tail, and I also want to do Leaf's Susie dating sim once that's completed. So a couple of fan games for a bit. Oh, some thoughts on it. I've already played Ghost Trick. I already did it. I played Ghost Trick when it first came out on the DS. I spent like a bunch of time in like a hotel room or something, just trying to solve it all. I did all of that myself. I didn't even look stuff up because it was difficult. But I did it when it first came out on the DS, and then when it came out again, I did it again. So I'm like, Ghost Trick is awesome. You all need to play Ghost Trick. But also, yes, do not spoil Ghost Trick. Just play it. That is true. That is true. It is one of those things where it's like, no, you really don't want to be spoiled on Ghost Trick. Please, just go play it yourself. The impact is so much better if you experience the twists as you play. It's a very well constructed mystery game. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to give away the twist. It is compelling on its own. It's like you play as a ghost trying to solve your own murder. And there's like Rube Goldberg puzzles. It's fun. The characters are crazy and silly. There are plenty of good reasons to play it even without the spoiler, but there's still part of me that's like, okay, but don't spoil yourself, please, just go do it. Wrong thing, needed a group. Yeah, if there are unique ideas for the violence route, sorry, I'm probably not going to do that. I tend to only do the pacifist. But I also thought that Outer Tail was unique because they do like a super pacifist route, like basically even more pacifist than Undertale does. So that's what I wanted to try and go for, is try and go for like the ultra pacifist route. Of course, I will give my thoughts as I do them. Although, is there still like a memory leak problem? I heard that like part of the problem is like there's a memory leak, so you kind of have to stop and save and then restart a bunch so that it doesn't crash on you. Okay. Did they not fix it? Okay, here's a question, I guess. Does Outer Tail kind of follow along Undertale in that you do definitely have to do a neutral route first and then you can do your pacifist route? Or is it like Undertale Yellow where if you know what you're doing you can jump straight into pacifist and not do neutral at all? Huh, okay. Oh, I have a friend who is super into Oendon. It's kind of, I think that's kind of like the Japanese equivalent, like Elite Beat Agents, which I did play when that was out. I loved Elite Beat Agents, so I heard like Oendon was kind of like the predecessor to Elite Beat Agents. Okay, I'll give it a try myself. I've had people be like, you need to play Outer Tail a lot, so I will give it a try and I'll give my thoughts as I'm doing it. Again, I probably won't do No Mercy routes because I don't do those in general. I haven't done it with any Undertales I've done so far. Heck, I probably won't even do the bad routes for the Susie dating sim. I'll just do the happy ones. But I am curious to see how Outer Tail does. Yes. Person in my Discord server, and how I've reblogged a bunch, Leaf, is making a Susie dating sim for like Renplea and stuff. And I said, that looks fun. I will play it when you finish it. Kind of riffing off the fact that everybody loves Susie. So yeah, that looks fun. And Leaf says there will be like, good routes, bad routes for every character. So I'm like, okay, I'll do the good routes for, various dating sim characters for Susie. But I'm going to wait till that's done. That's still in the works right now. Hello. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. I'm glad you're all hanging out even though I'm not drawing very exciting things. Just like, barren landscape, barren landscape. We're just filling out the barren landscape. How many roots are there? Like, I guess maybe, because again, I know that there's probably going to be like your pacifist and your neutral and your no mercy, and then I heard there was like, you know, an ultra pacifist kind of thing. Are there things other than that? Ha ha ha, roots. I get it. I'm sure we will get a song called Roots in the future, as opposed to bit roots and digital roots. Because tone shifts can be interesting. See how that works out. Yeah. Okay. Crossed the line a bit too much there. Variant on Gino and a violent pacifist. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I guess violent pacifists, well, not necessarily violent pacifists, but like that kind of exists in Undertale in terms of like you can say mean things to the characters, and as long as you don't hurt them, yeah, it still counts as pacifist. But I'm guessing this is a you can hurt them but still spare them kind of thing. Well, I guess you can do that in Undertale too, where you can attack them as long as you don't kill them. That still counts as pacifist. Okay. Oh, that sounds tricky, because if you mess that up, if you like accidentally hit too hard, then whoops, there goes your, you know, your violent pacifist run, I guess. It's complicated. I'm surprised more people... I haven't heard people, like, talk about Undertale more, the way that people talk about, like, Undertale Yellow, and kind of just lump Undertale Yellow in with Undertale Deltarune sometimes as, like, its own thing, even though it's a fan game. Pacifist, what? Yeah, that sounds, that doesn't sound appropriate for a number of reasons. Bully makes more sense. I guess so. Yeah, I guess it's not even like a swap sort of thing, like Underswap. It's just like, these are the characters and now they're in space. Here they are in space. I gotcha. I guess in that sense, yeah, there's probably a little less to talk about. It's just like, cool, now they're in space. And color scheme's nice. It does seem like Undertale to me just seems like an excuse to like do some really cool costumes for the characters. Which, you know, totally fair. Sometimes you just want to put a character in a cool costume. Hello, hello, thank you for coming. Water lines. I'm only outside neutral. Alright. Well, we'll see when we get there, because, yeah, I think I'll finish up Soul of Sovereignty pretty quick next week. Because I think I don't know how close I was to the ending. I didn't want to try and push it, but I think Chapter 3 is the last available chapter of Soul of Sovereignty so far, so that'll be finished pretty quickly. And regular pacifist. Lots of options. Oh, sorry, I missed what you were saying about the B-Sky thread. It's to play it as a bit fresher. Yeah, it seemed like Yellow was very much its own thing. Yes, Soul of Sovereignty has been good. I would not really say Soul of Sovereignty is a romance. It is a visual novel, but the romance is definitely not between the main characters. It's a like there are mentions of characters being married, but it doesn't really go super well. So I would not call Soul of Sovereignty a romance. In fact, like, one of the main characters is just like straight up a horrible person, and you're just kind of dealing with that. It's fun, but they are a horrible person. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people have really good music for the AUs. AU comics are fun. But yeah, sorry. Busky. Yeah, I can talk more about the Blue Sky thread, because I was just thinking on that recently, and I was like, you know what, that'd be really neat if Asriel came back and he's like, yeah, I have a partner now, and people were like, we were trying to resurrect your girlfriend, and then it just gets awkward. I don't know. I just want I want the expectations that both the town and that the player have for Asriel to just come back and bite us all in the butt. Huh, interesting. That is interesting. I love you, Garrison. That was such a good moment. Yeah, I've only heard some AU music here and there. I've mostly just, like, the music I've saved to, like, this playlist, for example, has been for primarily Undertale and Eldritchrune. I think there's, like, a couple of AU songs, but not that many. You're not dead. I'm not dead. I'm still here. I'm just resting. I do need more amalgam mixes, because I do like amalgam, and that doesn't get remixed very often. That and Here We Are. I like both those songs, and those are not super high on the remix list. Plus, I gotta get more stuff from my playlist to eventually get it to 2,000 songs. My goal. How much more mix can they get? They're already mixed up in a wacky adventure of death and despair. Concert versions were so good. Oh my goodness, I love them. Oh my goodness, I really want, please, when Deltarune's done, please do another, concert, Toby. Please bring it to the Hollywood Bowl so I have a chance of seeing it, or something. Go visit my parents and be like, hey, can we go to the Hollywood Bowl, please? I gotta listen to this video game music concert, please. Oh, that's really funny. What a bomb that was to drop on people. Was like, oh, by the way, Garrison knew one of the humans that sealed them underground and was probably in love with them. That was great. I'm like, that was a great addition. Thank you, Toby. Let's drive people crazy. It's fun. Here, translate truth. Interesting. That is true. We did have Core. Which I'm glad, because Core is my favorite song. Or at least one of my favorites, but definitely my favorite area song. Thanks, Toby. Thank you, Toby. Yeah, we never did get another medium, did we? No, we don't need water lines in this one. It's none of that. I do like the headcanon that all humans in Undertale Deltarune are non-binary. I think that would be fun. Also, I want the fact that the humans we've met are all Simpsons yellow, which is kind of annoying, to be explained by the fact that humans also have, like, a multitude of skin colors for skin, like, you know, Doug or something like that, or Equestria, or, you know, Equestria girls, everybody just has like multicolored skin. Have I ever made my own vessel OC? I have not. I'll be honest, I don't care that much about the vessel. I'm just kind of like, okay, if it comes back, that'll be neat. I don't know what to do with mine, though. Maybe someone... Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I agree that if Asriel comes back from college and he's like, I got a new partner, it's not Kara, it's not Frisk, it's not anybody that we know. Somebody completely new, somebody that, like, the player has no attachment to. Because I think that'll help drive home the point. Because part of it is, like, you know, shocking the characters out of their expectations for Asriel, and also shocking the player out of it. So, yeah, I agree that if Asriel's like, oh, I found a new partner, just... it's Vriska. Oh, no. But, yeah, it's just somebody that we don't know. Completely new character. Oh, we disagree on this? Like, I think people would find that fun. And people have already done that a lot. Like, people have done a lot of, oh, you know, Asriel met, you know, Frisk or Kara in college kind of thing. And that is fun. Like, I've seen a lot of fun AUs with that. But just in terms of, like, the game itself, if that happened, I think it would work the best if it's not anybody we know. People we don't already have an expectation, like, attached to. No, the left side of my body. 7 dead, million injured. Papyrus. At least I think we'll eventually see Papyrus. Next chapter, he's just gonna be in disguise. And we'll be like, no! But yeah, I think it's gonna be nobody. I think it should be nobody that we know again, because then we'll like, oh, it's just, you know, this is gonna have this sort of thing. Like, we have no expectations for this person. They're just somebody foreign to us. It would drive home the point of, oh, you know, this is not for you kind of thing. I mean, he might. That'd be a little sad, but I do think we're going to keep Papyrus from us, but not in quite the same way. Sans did say, oh, you'll probably see my brother when your brother comes home, and I think we'll be seeing Asriel next chapter for the festival, so makes sense they would show up around the same time. Oh man, that line went a little wild. I see you found my Easter egg collection. Thanks, Papyrus. Yeah. Everybody's like, Toby will do this, Toby will not do this. Meanwhile, Toby's like, I tried to Google dot pinge collection and nothing came up. Guy, you pronounce this PNG dot pinge. I think he's going to be in 5 because I think he's going to show up for the festival. Pinge drinking right now. Yeah, I think he's going to show up for the festival, but again, I think he's going to show up for the festival, but he's going to be in a Halloween costume. So somebody will say it's Papyrus, but we still won't know what he completely looks like because he's in a costume. And what he actually looks like will probably show later down the line. Toby can do whatever legal, morally ethical thing he wants, true. Oh, ha ha ha, 6 or 7. I thought it was like you don't have an or, it's just 6, 7, and something with your hands. I don't know. I'm too old, I'm sorry. The kids' memes have moved on without me. I only find Dot Pinge funny now. Yeah, it is his story. You got to be careful if you're like, he would never do this because, watch out, you know. Careful what you wish for or what you don't wish for. Some monkey's paw's gonna be turning. Doesn't my bro look nice in his costume? Exactly. It will happen. Exactly. Night night. I will admit, I'm fully Team Des right now. I just can't picture it being anybody else. Of course, that might, you know, there's always, until it's confirmed for sure, you know, never say never. But right now, I'm acting as if that's the case until we learn otherwise. I think it's a reasonable expectation to have, based on what we know. But always leave a little squeaky bit of a room for something else, because you never know 100%. Yeah, I just got my ass kicked immediately in that fight. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm done with that. Yeah. Plus, I think Carol is more effective as a villain in the light world. Like, that her primary place is to be, you know, a light world antagonist. I don't think she needs to do both. And again, it's possible that it could be her. That was actually my first impression, was I thought it was Carol. And then my mind pretty much got changed as soon as somebody pointed out the baseball bat, because I missed that. And then it's just like, hey, that's a baseball bat. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Des. Like, that was what did it for me. The papyrus one I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sure there is a reason that we haven't seen papyrus yet. And we'll find out that reason soon enough. Again, probably chapter 5. I just don't think the reason is that the knight is papyrus. Like, it makes no thematic sense. Yeah, to me, it makes more sense in terms of, like, all the aesthetics, the baseball motifs, the skating motifs, the general, like, you know, attitude. The mirrors between the knight and Chris, they really only make sense if it's Des. You know, the fact that there are, like, dummied out guitar noises that the knight used to make. Musical motifs, the thematic motif of, like, you know, especially Susie versus Des, and that they are kind of parallels of each other. Whole bit of, like, okay, how is Noelle going to react to this? How does Toriel relate to this? Yeah, I think Susie's going to come to the wrong conclusion, but do you think Carol could still be a boss fight? Maybe, but I think if that does happen, it would be in the light world, and that would be even scarier, because we don't know how a light world fight would work. And also, she is an adult with a katana, and in the light world, we are a teenager with, at best, a knife. Not a good matchup. So, I think if we did, it might be a light world fight, and it would be even scarier than if she was in the dark world. He's gonna jump with boxing gloves. Ah! Toby, how do you code with boxing gloves on? Yeah, and it would be Undertale's UI. Yeah, just all the dynamics possible. Honestly, like, of the knight candidates, I think the one that would really actually kind of annoy me is if it was Rudy. I would kind of feel like I was lied to if it was Rudy. That one I don't know why, that one would just really annoy me. I would feel misled, and not in a good way. Between a pencil and a stick? Well, the stick might be bigger. Yeah, exactly. It's not like it would be an impossible story to tell, but I feel like it would actually kind of lower the stakes. I don't know if I so much like Chris becomes knight. I think Chris already is like kind of helping the knight through a bunch, and I am along the ideas of like a portion of Chris's soul is in the knight, so they're kind of already contributing to the knight in a sense. But I can definitely see a big heel turn where they, go and help the knight. Yeah, exactly. Surprise, the disabled character's been hiding the fact they're actually able and dangerous. Like, I don't like that. I don't like how it's like either, oh, he's sick because of the things he's doing in the dark world. Doesn't really make sense. Or, oh, he's faking that his illness. Even worse. Yeah, I've seen Asriel Knight come up a bunch recently. I'm kind of like, huh? Huh? Okay, I will give Asriel Knight one thing. And that I think that Asriel Knight was what was actually how it was in a much earlier draft of the story. Like back when Toby was first thinking it out, and like back when everybody in Hometown was a human and stuff like that. I think in an earlier draft of the story, it's actually quite likely even that Asriel was originally the knight. And then he changed that, one, after Undertale's, breakaway success. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do this all over again. And two, that would just be like a direct copy of Mother 3. And I think he was like, okay, I don't want... This is, like, more popular than I expected. I don't think I want to do this again, like a direct copy of Mother 3 and, oh, Asriel is the bad guy again. Let's change this up and do something a little different with these characters. And then we moved on to what we're doing now. And so we still kind of see, like, hints of that being left behind with, like, how much the town talks about Asriel in certain ways. But I don't think that's the case now. I think it very well could have been the case that was the case in an early draft, but not currently. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Rudy's illness. No, ad timing. Uh-oh. Well, actually, now that's ad timing, I should take my stretch break. Because it's time for that. So... Boop, 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 boop. Do a little bit of that. Alright, it is stretch break time. Time for stretch. Just slashed a child. I'm not sure if, like, I don't know, I see all these people, like, ascribe ideas to the knight, like, oh, they're clearly sick, oh, they're an amalgam or something like that, and I don't know, I'm not sure. Got a blast. Alright, I'll wait till the ads are done before I talk, although I'll probably still be in the middle of, stretching. No, the cough's gonna come. Be gone, cough. I'm trying to talk. Ugh. Do you think Ralsei is Chris's horns in the Dark World? I still think that is a viable option, yes. In terms of if he's an object, I think the horn still makes the most sense. I am growing on the idea, or the idea that Ralsei is also Chris's shadow is growing on me, and if we want to go with something that is not an object, like, I think you could also maybe get that one to work, but I'm still sticking with the horns until we get more options. But I do think that another portion of Chris's soul is with Ralsei, whether that's with an object or with something else. Oh, ding ding, something on my phone. Yeah, they definitely do not feel like a normal Lightner, and Des is just like the best option in terms of like someone who's clearly not doing okay as a Lightner. Someone who's clearly like kind of outside the realm of whatever's going on with normal people. Yeah, it's the morphing the whole body thing. You want to see like that's like, oh, that's like the amalgams. That's not what the amalgams do. The amalgams like kind of melt all over the place, but they don't morph between forms that much the way the knight does. Like at most, Lemon Bread kind of does, you know, that head thing. But they're not morphing. They're kind of liquid. And the knight doesn't seem to be liquid so much as like they're just changing their body shape. You know, kind of, you know, through their own will. They seem a unique sense. A unique creature. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and orange juice and etc. Alrighty, I'm back. Hmm. Oh yeah, sure. Same stuff they're made of. Again, I do like the idea. I'm sure I've shared this on my Tumblr in the past that like all of these characters that we've seen that are like, you know, completely black but with like, you know, a white outline or color highlight or something like that. That the thing that ties them all together is that they are basically manifestations of fear. That, you know, Titan appears, you know, fear of darkness appears in many forms. We see that, you know, Titan spawn and stuff like that. So, okay, you know, friend as the fear of the unknown, of, you know, something born from glitches, like purest darkness, yeah. And ERAM is the fear of the self, because ERAM is the one pointing out, oh, Chris, you know, you enjoyed being violent, didn't you? And then the Knight, again, still has that kind of pure darkness, black with white outline thing going on. I think that could really work as like a fear of fate, fear of the inevitable, fear of death. And then that is centered around death, you know, from a fear of death. You could definitely see that if she was going to die. And, or almost did, or kind of did, or something like that. And then, you know, because the Knight seems really focused on carrying out fate, like it's pretty much following the script pretty closely, then that ties into like, you know, the fear of fate, the fear of inevitability, that you can't escape what's already been set for you. So I think that would be an interesting opposition. I did like that idea of like all these various elements. I was like, well, how does this relate to that? And how does this relate to that? That they're all a manifestation of fear in some way. I think that would be neat. Yeah, the darkness, yeah. I hope we get a full explanation of like how the shadow crystals are different from the black shards, because they are different, but people seem to confuse them a bit so far. Yeah, good point. The lighting in the Dark Sanctuaries was so interesting. That was also the first place we were introduced to the idea of darkness constricts you and your TP being reduced or tied to a certain thing. Weaponized version. I don't know. It's such a mystery. It's such a mystery. Good grief, I'm going to have to spin this around a bit. One thing I will admit kind of confuses me is that I've seen people kind of just assume that Asgore is going to make the next Dark Fountain. I actually don't think that's the case. I kind of feel like it's still going to be the Knight, and he's just going to be in the right place at the right time. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that was definitely the impression I would get. I kind of feel like most of the Dark Worlds are made by the Knight, and if it's not made by the Knight, then we will know for certain who did it, like either Chris or Susie so far. And I think Noelle's going to make one. We're going vertical with this. Long panel is long. Are we on 9? I'm going pretty fast. Hope we get a cool thing from the shadow crystals all together. Maybe, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm certain we'll get that mechanic again. The darkness constricts you mechanic, which whew, that is difficult. The fact that you can't get TP unless you gather a certain resource instead of just, you know, dodging correctly or defending. That was always tricky for me. I struggle both in the Jackenstein fight and the Titan fight. Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of Asgore being stupid. I just don't think he's fully in on the plan. I think that Carol might be keeping him kind of on a tight leash. Yeah. That she is using him more for her own purposes, and to that end she is not going full in on, you know, what she knows to him. Because he seems pretty on board with, you know, oh, the people will find out, you know, that I was, you know, trying to help people all along, that, you know, I'll show what really happened. But at the same time, it seems pretty clear to me that Chris is in this as, like, a self-destruct thing. They are not expecting to survive. And Carol is kind of like, yep, I'm playing into that sort of thing. Maybe she thinks that, you know, she'll stop it in time or something. Maybe she thinks, you know, whatever. But she's not discouraging Chris's self-destructive behavior, at the very least. And I think that if Asgore knew about that, he would rethink stuff. I don't think Asgore actually wants Chris to be hurt. I don't think Asgore actually wants Chris to, you know, hurt themselves for this goal. So I think he is kept out of the loop, at least to that degree, that he is not aware of, you know, the extent of Chris's part in it. And then Toriel's definitely kept out, because if she knew anything at all, she would just throw hands with Carol. And it would not be pretty. Heck, maybe the thing that gets Asgore to turn around is him realizing, oh no, my adopted kid is, like, in way deeper in this than I thought. And, this is bad, actually. I think I need to back off. Which would also be an interesting, you know, change from Undertale, where he's like, okay, I'm accepting the child sacrifice stuff to save my people, and if this were the case where he's like, uh-oh, wait, there was child sacrifice? So maybe I should rethink that. Because otherwise he would also be in on the child sacrifice thing, and uh-oh, that's definitely going to piss off Toriel. Except in Eldritchrune, where she participates too. And everything go bad. But we shall see. Yeah, I just don't think that Asgore's going to make the next Dark World. I think he will just be conveniently set up to be in the right place at the right time, told, do these things, and you will get the proof you need to show everybody you were correct, kind of thing. Okay, where are we on? 10. Wait, did we do? Yeah, we did. Okay. And water lines. What are you doing? I just hope the next chapters make me like Asgore more. Right now, I'm like, man, dude, my guy, you're not endearing yourself here. Please, get improved, get better, please. I don't know, for me personally, the thing that bugs me is, like, how, you know, in Carol's house, we have this whole horror show where she is just really mean to Susie. It's like, never talk to my daughter again. And then Susie, you know, defies her. And Asgore just does nothing. He just says nothing about that. Does not, you know, stand up for Susie at all. And then when they're outside after that, he's like, oh, actually, she's really nice. Like, dude, Did you not just see what happened in there? You were there, my dude. He, like, barely acknowledges Susie. Like, does he even know her name? Or is she just, oh, this is Chris's friend? Like, it's not like he treats Susie badly or anything, but he just seems to just kind of, like, brush her off. Doesn't notice that she's, like, kind of a major part of this. So I'm like, what is that about, my dude? Alright, what are we doing? I am hoping for more from now on, because I do like that boss battle theme a lot. I kind of wonder if the boss theme's going to change again in, like, chapter 6 or 7. Or the fight theme, I guess, not boss theme. I mean, maybe from an outsider's perspective, but the thing that I find interesting about it is that it's like, oh, this, weird girl's come into my house and taken something she's not supposed to, whatever. But she doesn't say, never come to our house again, or, don't touch this guitar again. She says, never go near my daughter again. Even as Noelle is being, like, trying to stand up for her and being like, no, she's nice. Her response of, never talk to my daughter again, that to me is kind of suspicious. Like, the issue is not supposedly her talking to Noelle. The issue is her taking the guitar, right? So why does she not want her near Noelle? And from an outsider's perspective, it's also like, okay, you should also not be talking to your daughter that way. Your daughter should not be terrified to talk to you. That's just, in general, something that should not happen. Oh, did you see the post I made about my Chapter 5 ending ideas? Susie did threaten to eat Chris's face, but they don't know that. Supposedly only Chris knows that, and Chris isn't going to tell anybody. I sure as hell don't... And if you're talking about the incident from the newest girl part... Sure as hell don't think Noelle told anybody that. She wrote that in her private diary, pretty much. Unless Carol's spying on her, private diaries, in which case, also not okay, lady. And then again, there's also the thing of like, okay, Carol is, totally willing to let Chris hang around Susie, but not Noelle. Did I put these all in the wrong layer? I think I did. I did. Darn it. That's the funny thing, though. She's only done it for Chris. Like, Noelle points this out in her diary entry. She's like, Chris is the only person that Susie bullies. And even the other bullies are like, oh, well, I haven't really seen her ever hurt someone, but she's just scary. Like, Chris is the one person that Susie has actually threatened violence against that we know of. Something about Chris especially has Susie upset. So I guess it then depends on, okay, how much of this is just people looking at Susie and deciding she is violent versus how much of that violence has actually happened. Again, practically speaking, the only person she has threatened violence against is Chris. And Noelle has noticed this. I honestly kind of wonder how much Noelle's even mentioned Susie to her mom, because, like, Rudy knows about her because she feels comfortable talking about Susie to Rudy, because he's like, oh, this is Susie, this is the girl you like. But I don't know about Carol. Well, again, she wouldn't know that because nobody has told them. Like, Noelle even asks, why doesn't Chris tell somebody that they're being bullied? They just seem to not even care. I did it again. I did the water line again. Why am I dumb at paying attention to what I'm doing? Ah! I'll go a little further, and I'll say it's because she was half human. But I do think she was, at the very least, raised mostly among humans. Because she seems to be kind of outside her own culture. She seems to be, like, a little confused as to how monsters normally operate, especially with, like, the, Garrison's remains. She didn't really pick up on the fact that, that was a monster funeral object at first. Like Chris did before she did. So at the very least, I don't think she's very in tune with monster culture. But at the same time, like, again, one of the reasons why I think it could be a she's half human thing is, like, I find it suspicious that she never specifies who was bullying her. Like, if she had said, like, oh, I was the only monster, and I grew up among humans, and everybody was afraid of me and hated me, like, that would be a perfectly reasonable explanation. People would be like, oh, that makes sense. But she never specifies who does that. She never says anything about her family. That she is completely tight-lipped about that. She never specifies if the people were mean to her were monsters or humans. It seems to be both and all. It seems to be other kids and adults. Like, everyone she has encountered has failed her. Especially if it were a thing of, like, okay, she was the only monster, in an all-human town, and people were mean to her because she was, a monster and they were scared of her. But then she says, I moved to hometown and I expected things to be exactly the same. Okay, if, the problem was bigotry from humans, why would she expect that monsters would treat her the same? Like, kids are not stupid. If people are bigoted against them, they know why that is. So, if the problem was it was just humans being cruel to her for being a monster, then why would she think a town full of monsters is also going to be cruel to me? It seems like there was a little something more to that. I keep putting these on the wrong layer. Good grief, it's because they're they're not different colors, that's my problem. I'll figure it out eventually. Maybe. Like, she definitely seems to have targeted Chris because Chris is the only human. And I was talking about this in my Discord server a little bit, but I do find it interesting. Yeah, I'm a supporter. I do find it interesting that, Susie, when she talks about people, at least her peers, she doesn't do this with adults that much, but Susie talks in insults a lot. Like, she uses insults for people. Now, if she uses, if she likes somebody, or if you're her friend, then she usually calls them a dumbass. That's like her term of endearment. Is calling her friends dumbass. So she uses dumbass when she likes you, basically. Now, if she is mad, or if she wants to actually hurt you, she calls them a freak. Like, that is her actual insult, is freak. So I'm like, okay, why that word? Why is freak what she uses when she thinks this will hurt somebody? How much has that been used against her, kind of thing. Like, I get the feeling that, you know, her whole speech in the newest girl scene where she's like, one day your mom's gonna get sick of you, like, she's just speaking from experience. That is what she has experienced, and she expects it to carry over to Chris as well, because they are also an outcast in their community. Different from everybody else, and it makes life very hard. Ooh, okay. We're on page 10. Good grief, when did I start again? I always lose track of that. I knew we would blaze through these backgrounds, because they're easy peasies. I think my guy might be picking up the music a little bit. Actually, I think I'm going to copy paste one of these, so I think this is the wider one. Okay. Copy pastas. It's nice when we can repeat a background. Sometimes I kind of wish I could redo the theory video I did. I think I could do it a little better. Add some evidence I missed last time and maybe focus a little less on sands and papyrus like I did. But alas, alack, I don't really have time to redo that. I was already being like, I could do this other theory video, but now I'm like, when am I gonna have time? I thought I might do it over the winter break, but no, I was just busy breaking over the winter break. Not as in like relaxing, not breaking down. I was hanging out with my family. Gonna have a party, or wherever it goes in Birdemic. Which I did watch Riff Tracks for, and I don't even know if Riff Tracks could save that movie. It was so boring. It was so long and boring. Okay. We're emptying the pool. Everybody out of the pool. Swimming hours are over. I want to go swimming again in a little bit. Actually, when did I last go? Might have been in October or something. Let's go to an indoor pool. Those outdoor ones are closed right now for obvious reasons. And I like to swim. Ugh. Oh no, I got that sense of like, I'm gonna sneeze. Yep, that's how it happens. That's how it be. I will say, I am glad I don't have to go to school anymore. Gotta worry about other things, but at least I don't gotta worry about school. Swimming is cool. It's fun. It's fun and it's good for you. My only wish is I wish it didn't require so much prep. You gotta, get changed and shower and go to the place where it is and blah blah blah. It's a lot of prep to swim, but it is fun. Woo. It's difficult to do when it's too cold out, unless you're indoors. We're on page 11, number 15. Yeah, I can probably, once we do this, I'll start blasting through with, like, how I do colors, which will probably be confusing. Or shading in this case, not really color. Which I think it's covered up anyway. Just don't want to go swimming in this pool. Because it'll get ya. It'll get ya. I always label all my layers, because otherwise it's really easy to lose track of that stuff. So what messages did I get on this a while ago? Oh, nothing exciting. Please accept our offers of things. Sign up for blah blah blah. How about I don't? I have no clue how mountains like this would work in real life, but I'm sure they do somewhere. At least I'm actually keeping track of where the correct lines are now. Watch, I immediately screw it up next time. Water level's getting lower. We've reached no diving stages. Here's a question. How many of you grew up with a pool in your backyard? Was this common for you, or is this uncommon? Ooh, that'll be a cool poster then. It was a long time to spend on it, but usually that means you're either doing something cool or learning something, or both. Coloring is probably always the part that takes the longest for me. Is the poster you're doing for fun, or is it for an assignment? when I did a poster in school last. I remember once for biology, we're doing like cell biology, and I did like an extremely elaborate, like all labeled nicely, poster of all the parts of the cell. I don't remember it now, but I spent a long time on that thing. The only thing anybody remembers is the mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell. That's all you need to know. Also nucleus. Oh, nice. Glad it's for fun. For fun is the best reason to do stuff. Wouldn't it? We could all do everything for fun. Alas, alack. I didn't do much fun stuff yesterday. I was trying to be responsible and do adulting things. So I'm like, okay, I gotta fill out this stuff and send it off, so I'll do that. And I gotta change Alfie's UV lights, so I did that. I ordered new lights and stuff for her. And then I'm like, okay, the primary thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to, I need to renew my passport, so I'm going to send that off to do that. So I went and I got my passport photos, and I got the thing printed out, and I filled it out, and I got my new passport, or my old passport, and I'm like, okay, before I can mail it, I need to get the fee. I have to pay the fee for it, which is annoying, but okay, whatever, government stuff. So, and then I check on the thing that says we only accept, you know, stuff from a U.S. bank institution. We only accept a check from a U.S. bank. And I'm like, well, shoot, I am in Canada. I do not have any checks for my U.S. bank account because I haven't really used it much because I'm in Canada. And they're like, but you can get a cashier's check from most Canadian banks. So I said, okay, I will go to the Canada bank that I'm at and ask them to get me a check in US dollars so that I can renew my passport. And I went there, and they're like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, you don't do that? And they're like, no, we don't give you checks in US dollars. So I'm like, okay. So the best I could think to do is, like, I guess I'll order checks for the one, like, US account I have left with money in it, even though I don't really use that much except for, like, you know, small things here or there. I don't have any checks for it. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll order checks, and I have to wait now for like 2 weeks for my new checks to get here, and shipping costs like more than the checks did. Like, the checks are like $35, then shipping is like $60. And I'm like, how does it cost you $60 to send, you know, a bundle of checks, paper, through the mail to Canada, which is not that far from the United States, obviously. So, I was not happy about that. Because now I can't renew my passport because I have to pay the fee for it, and they won't accept, like, you know, a credit card or a wire transfer, apparently. So I have to wait for some checks to arrive that I'm going to use once and never again. And it cost me too much money. So that was my day yesterday. I would much rather draw on comics today. Already a crappy time to be trying to get any government papers, but it's more difficult when you're doing them remotely. At the very least, I do have my Canadian passport, so I am not passportless in the intermediate, but it is still bothersome how expensive it is. I feel like the last time I did this, I actually went to like a Canadian government center and I did it there, but I think that might have worked a little differently because of where I am now. I don't know. I'm trying to do it correctly, and that's hard, and that's frustrating. But not much I can do about that right now, so here we draw more bleak landscape. At the very least, it's easy to draw. We're already almost through. Oh, I should probably take a break, actually. Okay. Actually, no, I'll just do them. I will do this first. This is another one that we'll just copy over to the next panel. Also, if you want character roughs, here's our Susie. She's climbing out. Like that. She also grumbling about the state of things. I have to crawl out of this big hole. And follow up on this side. Susie! She's down in a hole. Get her out. Let her escape the hole. Okay. Cool. That page is done. So we will do a stretch break. Yeah, I'm going to have time to launch into coloring madness here. It's amazing how far you can get when backgrounds are easy and a bunch of just scribbly lines. Line scribble. Alright, stretch break time. Oh. At least it's not raining hard like it was last weekend. I tried to go out and do things and it's like all over your face. Now it's actually quite sunny. Still cold though, as earlier discussed. Ooh. Stretchy, stretchy. I'm always curious if people can kind of guess what is happening in a comic just from the backgrounds, but probably not. Probably need a lot more context. Definitely got to keep the text boxes hidden though, because that has all the context. Hooray! More Wings of Fire books. I did only read the like the first 5, I think, like the main arc. I'm not sure how many there are now. It's probably a lot now that I think about it. I'm surprised nobody's done like that kind of like Wings of Fire Warrior Cats things for like more animal groups. Like do it for dolphins or dinosaurs. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and stuff. Alrighty. First arc, I think 26 is being written. Oh goodness. Okay, that is a lot. I kind of almost thought there'd be more. But I guess 26 is a lot, especially since I imagine it's all still the same author. It's not like a ghost writing thing. That's a lot of books. Man, if you can get a gig like that, stick with it. You have to write cool dragon books. We don't need water lines anymore. The water's all gone. I was listening to the music that was happening with Battle Against the True Hero, and I'm like, man, when are we actually going to see Undyne again in Deltarune? I'm kind of wondering. So I'm guessing it's probably not going to be until we actually get into the shelter, but when is that going to happen? Maybe chapter 6? Do something about Undyne being sacrificed, whatever that means. Whatever that implies. It means her being frozen sushi'd. Frozen fish'd. If that removed Shadow Crystal dialogue is anything. I don't think we're gonna get an Undyne fight. It'd be cool, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Mostly because I don't want a bunch of rehashes of the fights that we did in Undertale. Like, I don't want us to be like, oh, we're gonna fight Sans and, you know, Toriel again, and what if we fought Undyne and Papyrus? I'm like, I don't want to do that. If I want to do that, I'll play Undertale. Like, I will accept things we have not done already. Like, okay, Alphys, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm curious about what is going on with that word that Sham is saying. Like, are we positive determination? Like, that would follow, but the fact that it was just cut off like that. What are you doing? Actually, I don't know the word for it. Let's mix it up. I think it's a little bit of a tricky Tony. I think it's a little bit of a mistake that people kind of think that, like, determination operates the same as it did in Undertale, even though that doesn't seem to be the case. Or at the very least, like, the rules are working differently between Undertale and Deltarune for how determination is. Yeah. I should actually try that fight, since it's online. I haven't actually tried it yet. I watched it and it was very fun and cute. But, yeah, especially after the 10th anniversary stream, Sans is like, no, actually, I don't really like fighting at all. He seems to be pretty adverse to the idea. Even, like, for playing around. Which is interesting. Yeah, I do think it's created to, like, making dark fountains. That definitely seems to be the case. That's what Queen suggested anyway. Hello, hello, thank you for coming while playing Minecraft. But I think, like, people are coming into the expectation of, like, oh, determination is what lets you save and reset, even though that doesn't seem to be the mechanic here. Or the idea that, oh, monsters have, you know, way less determination than humans. Humans have a lot of determination, even though, again, that doesn't seem to be the case in Deltarune. There really isn't a differentiating between human and monsters in terms of like, yep, any one of them can make a dark world, so there's not really a determination discrepancy between them. I think some people still kind of like cling to that idea a bit. It's like, oh, you know, the night is a amalgam because it's got, you know, it's melting. And I'm like, that's not how the amalgams work, because they were based off of a monster having, you know, monsters having too much determination. Or, oh, you know, determination is red. No, it's not. It's gold. At least the color associated with it is gold. A lot of empty spaces here. I'm gonna have room for all these big guys to stand around. Nope, not like that. Okay. I remember listening to this particular song a bunch when I was working on the My Little Pony movie. To make some mac and cheese, you're making mac and cheese and no one can stop you! That's how the meme goes, right? I don't know about the meme, I just know people assign it to Rules Card all the time. Half the memes the fandom does fly over my head because I'm too old. But at least I understand dot pinge. What's the worst possible way to pronounce, like, a file extension in your mind? WebP is pretty bad. Hinge is pretty bad. Of course, there's always the GIF versus GIF. I've never actually played The Sims, but when I was younger, we did play a lot of like Sim City on our old black and white Mac, where you had to build the city. It's like, am I gonna make this an industrial area? I gotta put down some rails and stuff. Yeah, SimCity is always very fun. I'm not sure what version we had, just, yep, this is the one that works on the black and white Macintosh. Do we ever have roller coaster cartoon? I can't talk. I was saying roller tyster cartoon, no. Roller Coaster Tycoon, I don't think we did. There was lots of Heroes of Might and Magic, though. I miss that game. I definitely don't have time to play it now. That's what I need for like a long flight. Like if you're gonna put me on a, you know, transatlantic flight or whatever, I just need like, I don't know, Heroes of Might and Magic on like, you know, Steam Deck or something. And I'll just, the whole time will fly by because I'll be too busy one more turning my way through something. Those games were addictive. Probably on purpose. At least they weren't trying to sell you a whole bunch of in-app purchase stuff. Yeah, there are a bunch of different tycoon games. Like there's like a zoo tycoon and a island tycoon and anything where you gotta like build and manage a business. So much easier. We don't have to actually do the infrastructure part, and you can just kind of pop it in there. Makes life easier. This is going to be our last little bit of line work. We can move on to some coloring, which is going to be a lot of flipping back and forth as I use the same brush everywhere. Okie dokie. Let's... Actually, I want to check and make sure... Why can I not ever type that correctly? I'll check and make sure I'm using the correct shade to start with. I had 2 Smooth McGroove songs in a row. Also, Smooth McGroove, please do some more Eldritchrune chapters 3 and 4, please. I mean, yeah, he can do what he wants, but I would like that. I mean, I like all the songs, so can't go wrong. Let's see, what's a outdoors one? Deals. Let's try Meeting Lancer. See what gray we had going on here. Is it really that dark? It must have been. Guess so. Yeah, okay, that one would be... Okay, that is the middle one. Middle one, okay. It's time to go through everything and go kapow, kapow, kapow. We'll make everything the same base color and then we'll work off of that. It was so long ago, don't remind me of how long it's taken to do these things. I was not I was like, I'll just do a couple comics from this. It won't take very long. Alright, we'll come back to that one later because that's all underwater. We're skipping page 3. I was not expecting these things to take so long. I really hope I can finish all this by chapter 6. I don't really want it to go past that chapter. I'm pretty sure things are going to change enough in chapter 6 and 7 that Eldritchrune won't feel very relevant. So my goal is to finish everything before chapter 6 is out, which, when will that be? I don't know, maybe next year, maybe the year after. I kind of hope at the end of chapter 5 we're going to, you know, get another hint as to how long it'll take. Good grief. I can't believe we're getting chapter 5 this year. Like, we're barely waiting at all. It's probably going to be less than, like, you know, 6 or 7 months. You'll figure out how to end it. You'll figure it out. Sometimes stuff happens as you're still working it out. Well, at least in the case of Paper Trail, that was I knew the ending pretty early. What I wanted to do for that. For better or worse. Some people like it, some people do not. Although Eldritchrune's my punishment for that. Instead of like a ending people think is going to cut off quickly, they're like, this is a 20-part ending. It's going to take me forever to draw it. Sorry. You have been punished for your hubrises. Prepare yourself for a 160-page long ending. Dun dun dun. Ah, that's the hard part, yeah. That's the hard part. Okay. Right now, we've done base on everything. Time to do little shadings. That kind of weird horizon glow going on. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a especially difficult thing if, like, you know, you have a planned ending and then you actually get there and you're like, oh, can I still do this kind of thing? Should probably also do some overhanging clouds around here, but we'll go through with this color first. Do that. It would be cool to get backgrounds done pretty soon so that we can maybe get to character lines next week. At least for a few pages. Maybe not all the pages, but a good amount of them. That'd be neat. Because most of what I've got going on in again, skip that one. Most of what I got going on with the ending is either, again, cleaning up some backgrounds or doing some character fills. It was at the very least definitely fun to write Gaster as, like, you know, pure evil mastermind kind of stuff in Paper Trail. I imagine that's going to be very different in canon. We still don't know what his deal is aside from thinks the player is cool. You're my favorite player. Please play my game. Yeah, folks have done interesting stuff with him. That is true. What is the lines we have here? Sometimes I'll have a blank background and it's like, what did I put here? I guess I'll find out eventually. We'll find out eventually. Make more context when I have the characters down. I need to be better at typing with one hand. Because the other one's holding a pen. Not like that, you dum-dums. I just realized it as I said it. I'm like, wait, that's going to be misconstrued. Ooh. I should probably use like one of those, I think they have like little notepad things you can get for just like attached to the tablet with one hand so you can do all your hotkeys just with that. Yep. I imagine it would be pretty hard to be like, oh, poor Gaster, all that. You'll figure it out eventually. You will. Gotta keep going. Again, sometimes, like, you'll be surprised at, like, oh my goodness, I have the solution. I didn't before, but I do now. It can come in the most unexpected ways. In fact, I pretty much guarantee you that's probably happened to Toby a couple times while writing Deltarune. Is that he'll be like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to get from here to there, what to do with this, and then just like, I know now. Like, those are very fun moments, but yeah, you can't really plan for them. They just kind of happen. That has definitely happened with pretty much all of my projects at some point or other. Eureka moment. How Toby flips a coin. If it's heads, I do something gay. If tails, I do Eldritch Horror. Little did you know, two sides of the same coin. It's gay and it's Eldritch Horror. The best kind. Yep. Oh goodness, Weird Root. What will happen with you? I can't imagine anything good. I'm so worried what's gonna I mean, I'm worried about everybody. Like, Chris and Noelle, obviously. Bad things are gonna happen to them, but I feel like it's gonna get real bad with Susie when she's been, you know, thinking, oh, I'm, you know, making friends and maybe even girlfriends or something, and then finally fitting in, and then, like, we just shut her out of everything. It's player time. No space for Susie there. And I can't imagine that's going to lead to anything good. I do wonder what, like, Carol's role is in all this, like how much she knows about that and how much she's like, yeah, sure, you know, we can keep my daughter under horrible, you know, control. That's fine. I don't know, I feel like she'd have something to say about that, but maybe not. I get the sinking feeling that Carol would be okay with it in as much as it keeps Susie out of the picture. Which, don't like what that implies. Oh no, Chris is not fine. Chris is not okay. Chris not doing alright in that route. Like even the normal route, they're like, ugh, I don't like putting up with this thing that's possessing me, whereas Weird Root, they're very much like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I haven't done Weird Root either. Again, I don't tend to do quote-unquote evil whatever routes. Not what I find fun. But of course, you know, still got to keep up with what happens, because there's some important characterization in there. You know, I'm not good at game either. As evidenced by me dying a bunch to heckin' Jackenstein. I can't get through the house. Oh. That picture of, like, Chris or whatever. All the teams dying to Jebel. They're just like, can you lock the fuck in? Like, no, I'm sorry. I do wonder how some stuff will carry on into future chapters just from... I think at the very least Chris in the sword route now realizes, oh, the thing possessing me is playing a video game. That's what they're doing. And I wonder how they feel in that sense. Because I don't think they're like, oh, my world is all a video game. They think, oh no, to the thing possessing me, I am a video game character. That's a little scary. Please take me back to Jebel, please. I still want us somehow to have a moment where we get to talk to Chris directly. I know that would be mechanically difficult, but I think it would be so cool if it happened. You could get it to work. Be such a neat impact. It'd be so cool. That would be such a standout moment. But yeah, I know that logistically that's really hard. You would have to, I'm not even sure how you would test for all that, but I know that would be a really difficult scenario to set up, but I still think it would be extremely cool if it was pulled off. I think that would be a very unique gaming experience. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. No, I definitely did all of chapters 3 and 4 in one day. But, it took me all day. Like, I started around 8 a.m. because that's when it came out my time. I was like, oh, thank God I'm on the West Coast because it's 8 a.m. for me here. And I took the time off of work and everything just to play it. But even starting at 8 a.m., I still went through, like, I think I stopped around to, like, 11:30 at night is when I finally finished chapter 4. I only took, like, a few quick lunch and dinner breaks. Ate snacks as I was going and all that. But I can tell you that I was not good at parts of the game. I got stuck at certain parts. I especially got stuck. I never got past the night because I didn't beat ERAM. I tried. I was kind of stuck on I got to ERAM because it's not very hard to S rank stuff your first try. So I got to ERAM. Good grief, I died a lot just in the stupid ice dungeon. Like just getting through the Bitroots dungeon, I died a lot. And then I got to ERAM and I died frequently. And so finally I gave up. I'm like, okay, maybe that's the secret boss. I'll just come back to it later. And then I had to do a lot of it later. I'm not good at Zelda-style games. Not terribly skilled at them. And then I just assumed night was a scripted loss. I always have to have people point out, like, okay, here's where the secret boss is, here's the eggs. I didn't even fight Garrison my first playthrough. I missed that. And I kind of wish that fight was mandatory, actually. Because I think that's important enough for Susie's character arc that should have been mandatory. Oh no, S-Rank, no! The only way I passed, like, the cooking stuff was ironically, like, I really failed it the first time. Like, I just didn't even get past the cooking show the first time. So so they tried it again. Second time, I'm like, I'm gonna lock in. And I got through it the second time with a pretty good score. Cooking show shockingly hard. Like, honestly, the raise up your bat sequence, that was easier to handle than cooking. Which for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's the timing of it, but it's like, ooh. That was a tricky one. And now we're going through and adding some dark little clouds over everything. Yeah, I'm too dumb to figure them out. I feel so bad. I'm like, I gotta explore properly. But alas, I guess I'm not very good at exploring because I can never find them my first try. And people's like, oh, go here, here, and here. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got it now. But I've never found them on my first try. I guess ERAM is the closest I came, and then I found it. But I didn't beat it. Because I'm like, I can't spend forever on this. I gotta progress. And then, of course, lost to the night. Yeah, the rhythm game for Raise Up Your Bat was, like, easy to catch up on. Makes sense. Whereas, I'm sorry, Oh Baliador, you were a very difficult rhythm game to work out. I like rhythm games normally. Little did you know that there was important story hiding in the Garrison boss battle. Okay. Oh wait, not yet. I love rhythm games, but Elba, you are tricky. Alright, I need to take a stretch break here. I will do that after I finish this one. Must be doing a lot of like little sky gradients, which I will paint over as we progress. Alright, this is going to be stretch break, and then this will be our last session before I stop for the day. Ooh, need more water. Blech. I kind of wonder what the gimmick is going to be for Chapter 5 in terms of gameplay. Like, you know, in Chapter 2, it's, you know, teacup ride kind of stuff was our gimmick. Chapter 3 obviously was like, oops, all gimmicks. And that we had, well, we had the sneaking game a bit, and the, all the Zelda game stuff. And then with Chapter 4, it was the climbing mechanic. So I'm like, what's going to be our Chapter 5 game gimmick? Susie's playing the drums hard. She's good at playing the drums. She's like, I was carrying you guys with my drums. I'm like, yes, Susie. You were always carrying us. Plus, I'm just like, let Susie express herself through music. People have not let her do that. He's like, oh, you can't sing, right? Oh, you can't play the guitar. Oh, you can't play the piano. Let her do it. She wants to express herself. Well, maybe, but how would that be implemented as a mechanic? Maybe the water thing is something like you gotta aim it or something like that. So you can aim the flowers a certain way. Cartoon logic. Yeah, I don't know how to play piano either. I got like a tiny bit of lessons when I was a kid and then did not keep up with them. So I can't do all the cool piano stuff Chris can. Chris is a better piano player than me by a lot, and they're a Vimeo game character. I used to be able to play the trumpet. That was a long time ago. But I know I'm missing keys. Okay, I will be right back for one more stretch, and then we will finish up. Alrighty, I'm back for one more session. How do you do that? I do like rhythm games. Like, I like Elite Beat Agents and theater rhythm, but don't know about Guitar Hero. Ugh. I'm just anxious about the fact that Chris is probably gonna lose their hand, which they need to play the piano. Their autonomy. Their musical expression. Which is why we gotta end with Chris playing the piano with Susie. Chris has lost something important, but they still have their friendship, and now they can musically express themselves together. And I'll cry. And then also Noelle can sing with them. Either way, I will definitely cry. And Ralsei. I love Ralsei. I don't think he's gonna make it to the end, but he gotta have his good moments. He gotta get his own sense of self, at least a little bit. You gotta learn that just in time. He was putting her to sleep. No. He sings nice lullabies. Susie was trying to sing along too, and everybody doesn't like her singing. And she's like, "Arr, arr, arr." Which sounds like a seal, but that's not how it is. I know how else to do that kind of mechanical yick, 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 the kind of barking laugh. Yeah, I'm sure she's changed her mind on that. Because Ralsei's her friend too. I'm glad for the most part we're past the Ralsei's evil stuff. I know some people are still in on that, but I'm like, no. I think you're gonna have to let that idea go, my dudes. And what we got's way more interesting than he's evil. Way more interesting and heartbreaking. Okay. Oh yeah, it was clear that he was hiding something. And yeah, now we know that he was hiding. He's probably still hiding some things. For one thing, he's still very cagey about what kind of dark neural object he is, and he still seems to think that he doesn't deserve things. But I don't think that he is keeping these things from his friends out of malice. I think if anything, what's going on is that all three of them, Ralsei, Chris, and Susie, are basically keeping big secrets from the others, because they're like, oh, I love my friends so much, but if my friends knew this, particular thing, that would ruin the friendship, and I don't want to ruin the friendship, so I gotta keep this a secret. The problem is, none of them, they don't realize that all three of them are doing that for different reasons. But maybe, Ralsei and Chris are in on it together, but I'm not sure. I actually do wonder how much Ralsei knows of Chris being in on the night conspiracy. That is one point where I'm like, okay, I'm actually unsure of like what Ralsei knows here. Like he clearly knows the prophecy and all that, and Chris knows that as well. But I do wonder, does Ralsei know that Chris is working directly with the Knight? Yeah, that's because Ralsei is very set. Ralsei is very set on not upsetting people. He doesn't want Chris upset. He really doesn't want Susie upset. I think if there's any guess, again, I think maybe trying to guess what the prophecy says is a dangerous business. But I think if there is any guess I would make as to what the final prophecy says, it is something along the lines of harm coming to Chris, maybe death, maybe, something else, but basically some kind of deadly harm coming to Chris at Susie's hands. And the reason why I think that is probably the most likely situation we have going is, one, we know the final prophecy involves Susie in some way, because during the second sanctuary, when she says, "Oh, is there anything else about me?" that's when the final prophecy starts to pop up. So it definitely involves her in some way. And two, Ralsei seems to be laboring under this idea that, if we're just nice, if we're not violent, maybe things can change. And he was hoping that is what, would change things, and they didn't. And now he's kind of despairing about that, even as Susie is trying to be really hopeful about it. So it's something that involves some kind of violence, because his thought is, if we can avoid violence, maybe we can avoid that. It's something that obviously Susie would balk at, because, she has her friends now. She doesn't want to actually hurt them. And also Chris is going into this seemingly with the expectation that they're not making it out alive. At the very least, that something bad is happening to them. They seem in on this as a self-destructive thing. So, all of that stuff combined lends to me the idea that the thing that they, and also the thing that Susie says after they're done with chapter 4 is, I have my stupid dream that, we can carry on as we were before. No matter what happens, we'll keep being friends. We won't let that happen. Kind of thing. She is scared that this prophecy has pretty much said, no, you are doomed to hurt the person you care about. Something she probably already is anxious about. That she was picked for this cool role. She's finally a hero. Oops, the prophecy says you're gonna hurt and or kill your friend. So, and then that can lead into other things people have suggested, like, hey, Chris losing a hand, Chris, Susie maybe getting the soul kind of stuff. So, again, I don't think there's any way we can know for sure, but currently that is what I would put my thoughts towards, is that the prophecy says the girl must, kill the cage or something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to try and put actual words to it, because I don't know if I can get the rhyming scheme just right. But until we get something that suggests otherwise, that is my guess as to what that would say that would get everybody to react that way. Oh, we're done with the stuff. Okay, well, now we're on to get we can done with this stuff. Wait, for some reason I thought that was on like a different opacity, but I'm not. Rhyming is hard. Rhyming is hard to figure out. It's true. Stuff like that. I don't know, I wrote a whole fanfic in rhyme once, and I don't think I would take on that endeavor again. That was a difficult self-imposed challenge. Because usually when you write rhymes, it's not even just a matter of, okay, you have to make things rhyme. You also have to have meter that matches. It doesn't sound very good in terms of rhyming if you're not also having good meter. And that is a whole nother thing. I did take a poetry class once though in college a while back, and honestly, like, it was a class I really liked. I kind of wish we could study that. People, let people study that more extensively. Not just like reading poems, but like writing your own. It really is its own discipline that feels really satisfying when you come up with something that sounds good, that feels good. Oh yeah, how to make it sound like a prophecy. That is another issue. I think that's why people assign rhymes to it and stuff like that. I think, isn't there a... Okay, I think I'm going to put these in the foreground, so... Just trying to work out how I want to shade this stuff. I'm sure it is all fine. I'm sure it's all good. Yeah, we'll cover up those later. At the very least, again, these backgrounds will be easier to get through than some of them. Especially stuff that will be coming up in the ending. Oof, oof, oof. Actually, no, when I wrote Paper Trail, I don't even think I wrote out, like, every prophecy necessarily. Did I? I know I definitely wrote out, one of the first things I wrote out was every diary entry that Asriel did. But I don't know if I necessarily wrote a corresponding prophecy for them. It might just have come up as needed in the story itself. More often than not, they were just described rather than, like, outright said. But all the letters definitely, like, that was one of the first things I wrote, was all the letters. Yep. I do think the Church Dark World in a canon was nicer than mine. It was much prettier, more fun to run around in. Yay, glad your mac and cheese turned out alright. I haven't had mac and cheese in a very long time, actually. I don't know why. I think I hit a stage where, like, I'm like, oh, I don't like this anymore. Oh no, the thought of making this sounds yuck. So I haven't had it forever. Maybe if I tried it again. Thank you. I'll have to give all my mac and cheese to Rules card. I kind of wonder what they're going to do with Rules in the future. Like, what is he going to do in chapter like 5, 6, and 7? Yeah, exactly. Because I wrote it from like chapter 1 when we didn't know that there was no sinner confession in their religion, even though they still kind of act like it. It's like, what do you mean, Susie or like Toriel's like, speaking of sin, we're gonna go to church? I'm like, y'all don't believe in sin. What are you talking about, Toriel? the Christianity still seeping into your stuff there. Like, for your religion not having sin, you sure have like allusions to it a bunch. Catholic guilt, Toriel, she's not even Catholic. Isn't our religion just like be nice to people and stuff? Thank you, Caddy. That is strictly Catholic. That's not even a Protestant thing. Unless you're talking like the Protestant thing of like, we're gonna do a retreat mountaintop experience. Now everybody come up to the front of the thing and explain all your deepest sins in front of the audience, which looking back on that I was like, that was a little messed up. Made sense when I was a kid, but nowadays I'm like, can we not do that? Church retreats, maybe she did. She's like, well, many humans practice Catholicism believe you are inherently bad. This will have no detrimental effects on your human whatsoever. It's fine. I was like, well, hopefully I don't have to deal with that. If I'm just nice enough, then, we'll be fine. It'll be fine. I feel so bad for Toria, though. She's trying so hard to, like, do things right by Chris. And Chris just refuses to meet her halfway. He's like, I gotta go confess to the priest, Mom. My sins. Alan's like, okay. Why do they have fathers in their religion if, they don't have... It's not Catholicism. I did see a theory video recently on the idea that the festival's Easter festival, in order to parallel raising Chris from the dead, pretty much, that's what Carol wants to do. And while I do think the festival is going to be used for trying to bring back Des or something like that, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is a fall festival. This is not Easter. But with the fall leaves and Jackenstein especially being like, I only come out for the festival time. And I'm a Halloween decoration, so fall is what would make sense. Yeah, there's probably some crossover between their human religions. It seems like their religion is a little bit niche. It kind of makes you wonder, like, is this even like a thing among all monsters, or is it like just their town? Like, how widespread is, Deltarune religion? Are there people outside the town that are like, oh yeah, the roaring is going to happen probably, we need to watch out for the heroes? Or is that just a hometown thing? And also they got it correct for story reasons. Or maybe the whole point of it is, not necessarily a commentation on religion in general, but more like, playing into the expectations that kids have placed on them that are unfair. It was a huge bummer when it didn't. Monster TikTok is like, the roaring's totally gonna happen today, you guys, get ready. Does not happen. They have thought so every single year. Every time People are like, oh, the rapture's going to happen. It's going to happen this year. And every time is wrong. Just assume it's always going to be wrong. It will never be correct. Unless it's the roaring, in which case that's happening probably chapter 6. Well, also, it's probably not going to happen because it's not in the Bible. They made that up. This is my Christian knowledge coming in. The rapture is not in the Bible. They made that up to sell more rapture. Probably very much literally sell it. A whole lot of books on I can predict when the end of the world is, and I was wrong this time, but the next time I'll be right by my next book. Just because something is like not in the Bible doesn't mean it's not a widespread belief. There's a lot of stuff that's not in the Bible that's a widespread belief. It's called culture. I'll tell you right now, Christians don't want to admit how much of, what's considered just like natural belief is like, just tradition that's been passed down. Not even that old tradition. Sometimes it's just like from the 60s or 70s. Like they didn't believe in the rapture or whatever back in like medieval times. It's actually a fairly recent idea. But, all you need is like a generation or two, and it's like, we've always thought this way. It's like, yeah, your grandma thought this way. Your great-grandma didn't, though. Might be a little bit heavy for starting off the end of our stream, though, since we're getting close to the end. What were we talking about? The roaring? Something like that. I do still think it's going to be a flood in the real world. There are no dragons in the Bible. There's not. Unless we're talking like metaphorical ones. Yeah, I mean, definitely during like plague years, when everyone is dying of disease, that is absolutely going to feel like the end of the world. But even then, that's separate from like quote unquote the rapture. Yeah, dragons are usually used as metaphors. Bible's got that. It's got actually quite a lot of metaphors. They know what metaphors are. Might have been a later tradition as well. My one thing I like about the book of Job is that when God is talking to Job, he's like, hey, did you make the quote-unquote Leviathan? And it's like, describes it. And it kind of describes what sounds like a dragon, but is probably a dinosaur, because like they had dinosaur bones back then. They found dinosaur bones, in Bible times. They're like, whoa, what are these giant bones? These must have belonged to a dragon or a giant human and stuff like that. So they were probably talking about dinosaurs. Which I think is kind of cool. What do we do with these giant bones? Heck, we've probably had dragons for as long as we've had. Throughout pretty much all of human history. Like, back in the day, there used to be, giant monsters that roam the earth, because, that's kind of true. Back in the day, before humans, we did have big lizards roaming the earth. They were dinosaurs. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. I thought I would avoid the cough. Well, I wouldn't know about that because I haven't played Half-Life yet, but I'm sure I will at some point. But what I do imagine the roaring being in the game is a flood. We have all this flood imagery going on with the roaring. So I think it would be Titans in the dark world, you know, smashing up everything, getting the darkness. But in the real world, in the light world, it's like a big flood. That is my prediction. Ugh. Oh, I haven't seen the movie, Noah. Oh, whoops. Well, isn't Half-Life, it's like they connect to aliens from another dimension and then the aliens come through and stuff like that? Or extra-dimensional beings, I don't know. I have not played Half-Life, so don't take my word for that. I think that's going to be a different color, too. Whew. Prince of Egypt is a great movie. Honestly, one of the better biblical movies out there. Prince of Egypt, very, very well done. You are hard-pressed to find a good biblical movie like Prince of Egypt these days. They actually, like, put thought and care and research and, you know, style and all other good stuff into it. It's a good one. Yeah, I remember, like, DreamWorks 2D. Honestly, like, DreamWorks 2D for a while was, like, really solid. Like, they were really expanding and trying some different things. Like, again, Prince of Egypt, that was a gamble because it's like, oh, instead of doing, you know, a fairy tale or something, we're going to do, like, a biblical epic kind of thing. And they also did, like, you know, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, which, another great movie. Of course, you know, James Baxter doing that horse animation. Of course it's going to be great. And then, like, Shrek happened. They're like, well, we're just going to do Shrek the whole time. We'll just make fun of Disney. That'll make us dollars. Disney's like, well, you too can play at that game. We're going to make fun of ourselves. And now we have this today. I'm trying to remember when Shrek came out in comparison to Prince of Egypt. I know Shrek was very early in their tenure, but was it contemporary to Prince of Egypt? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Road to El Dorado, also fun. Shared some production. Okay. I mean, I would believe you if you said that they were, you know, going on at the same time. Shrek all about Katzenberg being a petty asshole. Because he got mad. Yeah, didn't he? Going to Shrek a demotion, and then that made the bajillion dollars. Which is too bad because, like, Shrek is a fun movie. It is fun. I think it is, you know, well done for what it is. But Shrek is also, like, a mean movie a bit. It is definitely like cannonballs lobbed at Disney. Like, that is its purpose. It's got a good message and good characters in it, but it is a mean movie. But yeah, Katzenberg had so many issues. But like, Prince of Egypt felt sincere. Prince of Egypt was very much, we're going to take this story seriously. We're going to take all, you know, the emotions for it seriously. But I guess Shrek is the one that made a bajillion dollars. Yeah, Katzenberg had many issues. Again, he was a petty asshole. Like, Eisner was also not great, but Katzenberg, not great either. I think he came from, like, live action and did not really understand how you do things in animation and was like, well, why can't we just reshoot this like this? It's like, you can't do that. In animation, Katzenberg, you can't do that. First theater experience. I'm old. I'm old. Like, when DreamWorks wants to, they can make some really good stuff, like How to Train Your Dragon. Awesome. Kung Fu Panda, also stuff. Like, when they are sincere, and, you know, really showing their love for genre movies or trying something new, then you can see the artistry come out. And again, Shrek, good, it makes $1 billion, but compared to everybody else, like, it is a meaner, less sincere movie than other stuff that came out around the same time, like Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, stuff like that. What is the first movie I saw in theaters? I think it was a re-release of Lady and the Tramp, but if we're talking the first, like, Disney movie that came out in theaters, when I was old enough to see it, it's probably Little Mermaid. I know I saw Little Mermaid in theaters, so that'll tell you how old I am. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I felt like in Kingdom Hearts 3, the Toy Story world, it didn't feel very Toy Story-ish. That weird, just, you know, detour into Rex Vernum or whatever it was, and it's like, okay, I know you got feelings about Final Fantasy 15, Nomura. You gonna wear them on your sleeve any harder? The one tradition, it was Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. Verum Rex, that was it. I wanted Versus 13, damn it. Yeah, that's pretty much. Why can't we make it a musical? Yeah, the horse movie was Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, which, again, very, very beautiful movie. If for no other reason than James Baxter gets to show off his horse animation skills. Alright, ooh. Am I, okay, I'm going to just finish this up real quick and then we got to be done. So, we're almost done here. As soon as I finish up this one, then it'll be time for me to pack in because I got to eat some lunch. I'm getting hungry. All that business. Yeah, a lot of people did not like 15. I'll admit I have not kept up. The last Final Fantasy game I played was 13, and not even like the sequels to 13, just like regular 13. I have not joined critically acclaimed online MMO Final Fantasy 14 like all my friends, because I don't have time for an MMO. Even though I'm sure that 14 is an extremely good game, I don't have time for it. But yeah, I Blorbo's in law. I just have my friends tell me about their wolves, and I'm like, your wolves sound neat. I don't have time to play 14, but I'm glad your wolves are meeting, you know, Luke Lamont and all that stuff. So that's I know very little about 14 except from what I get from osmosis. Oh, I don't want that. No, stop it. Stop it. Ooh. And I never played 15 or 16. Oh yeah, the ads are happening. Okay, we're gonna finish this up real quick and then we'll be gone. Starting your car by pushing 15 to a gas station. Or starting 15. The problem is it seems like 15 could have been pretty good, but they just were stuck in production hell. And yeah, I've heard mixed things about 16, but I can tell you, it seems like 16 made, like, no impression. Because I don't even remember who, like, the protagonist of 16 is. Like, at least I have an idea of, like, protagonist of 15. But 16, oh. Uh-oh. It stopped being fun when we got out of the road trip. Oh, no. Alright. Filling this in. Before I dissolve into coughs, let's finish this up. I'm sorry it's too late to request doodles. I'm just finishing up. Please save them for next time. I'm sorry, I just finished, and I'm probably going to cough up a storm as soon as I'm done. But, oh, see, I'm already starting. 15 as hell. But we got so much done today. I got through, like, all the line work and started on the shading for the backgrounds. We're shooing through the backgrounds for the next part. For all using my coughs, I don't know how to do that. That'd be incredible power if I could figure out how to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to drink ink. That sounds miserable. I'm sure somebody's done that in the past, but it ain't going to be me. Ain't going to be me. Anyways, I better go get lunch because I am hungry. Yes, you can request with points. Please do that next time. And I will bring up the thing and we'll do more requests next time. But yeah, we haven't done any of those in a bit. You'll be the first one to break in the new canvas if you do it next time. Woo! But thank you guys so much for coming to the stream and helping me get through backgrounds and chatting with me. It's been very fun. Woo! I'm gonna get hiccups if I'm not careful. Ugh. Alright, I better stop before I cough all over the microphone. Thank you guys for coming. I'll do more on Friday and more next Sunday. You guys stay awesome. I will see you all next time. Alrighty, I will see you later.